ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् अखण्डं सच्चिदानन्दम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम् आत्मानम् अखिलाधारम् आश्रये भीष्टसिद्धये अर्थतोऽपि अद्वयानन्दान् अतीतद्वैतभानतः गुरूनाराध्य वेदांत सारं वक्ष्ये यथामति. Okay. Question is actually pretty simple but important. Yeah. Okay. That was the question goes like this. Okay. I require some help in understanding Achala, non-moving attribute of Brahman. Because when I move, as a person, I move, but Brahman does not move even in the functioning world. When reflected consciousness moves, consciousness does not move. But it's true. That is why in two places it has been very, very well defined. One is in the Gita, Karmani Akarmaya Pashyat. And the other in the Upanishad, Dhyayati Iva Lelayati Iva. It is like the water appears to be moving in a wave, but the wave is not moving, really speaking. Water is not moving. Only the energy is being transferred that you are seeing as a wave. Similarly, or if I am that consciousness, the consciousness manifested in mind definitely will move. The manifestation will move. But consciousness per se doesn't move. But when the mind moves, we feel I am moving. When the mind thinks, I am thinking. My mind has gone there means I have reached there. I am no more here. So that is this thing. In the functioning world, the functioning consciousness moves. The manifested consciousness. And even when the manifested consciousness moves, the reality remains as it is. I cannot move. Remember, I am limitless awareness. If I am limitless, that means unconditioned by time and space. There is no place I am not there. The example I have often given is, you are taking a pot from one room to the other room. This pot has got 1 liter of space inside it. So when the pot goes from this room to other room, it looks as though the pot space is also gone. But the pot space has not gone. Only the pot has gone. Wherever the space is, that space is manifest in the pot. Because space again is all over. Therefore the pot moves. And wherever it moves in space. And space will always be manifest in it. So it looks as though space is moving. Because especially if it is a closed space, like this bottle, it is closed up. Moving? No, there is only one non-moving space. It looks as though the space is moving. Similarly, one consciousness, it looks as though the consciousness is moving. Because my mind, body, etc. is moving. I hope that clarifies that question. If there is anything else, you can always ask.
Thanks, Swamiji. I'll just think about it and I'll come back to you.
Okay. Okay. Then any questions, clarification from the camp, or it was pretty simple? Okay. Looks like it was pretty simple.
So, from the camp,
Yeah, Sachin.
you said that there is a leap. Suddenly there is a leap. That was from some points were getting missed when, at least for me when I was listening. You said there is a quantum leap from God to Ishvara.
Hmm. Yep.
I don't know if it's a, but I thought little bit if you explain, it will be more clear.
The difference between God and Ishvara, you're talking about that.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, really speaking, actually it should not matter whether you call God, Ishvara, whatever. But it matters because a language or a word used in a particular language comes from the cultural background of that language. Okay. Or the technical background of that field. Okay. So when you use the word God, because it is used in the English language, and the concept of God in English is based on what has been talked about in Judaism and Christianity. And of course, Islam also joins it, because all Occidental religions have the same idea. Occidental is that which has come from West Asia, Central Asia, that area. So in all these religions, the idea of God fits into the first two levels only. When I did 7 levels of understanding God, it all fits in only to the first 2 levels. Fear-based, rule-based, commandment-based, strict rules and regulations. I have to be God-fearing. And God is distinct from the world. God is not in the world. God is distinct from the world, sitting in his appointed place. So because of that, when you use the word God, in your mind subconsciously you will take that idea. This is not the Indian idea of God, Ishvara, Bhagavan, whatever you want to call. It is not. For us, Ishvara is not distinct from the world. Ishvara is in and through the world. Ishvara is manifestation. The world is a manifestation of Ishvara. Therefore, we cannot, if we use that word, we will subconsciously be going by that type of thinking. If it is clear in your mind, not a problem. But if it is not clear in your mind, more so because we are all graduates of English medium schools, where this idea was subtly put into us. In our education system, all this was put into us. Therefore, we go around with that idea. Our very fear comes from that. When we don't do something, God will punish us business. Comes from that, from the moral science classes we are exposed to. Like in my school, when I studied in the convent school, the Catholic and the Christian students were exposed to what they call as catechism. The Christian theology they were exposed to. But we had a moral science class. which are supposed to be not Catholic. But if you look at the lessons there, they were all Christian-centered lessons. It was published by Macmillan. The author was a Christian. So we used to have very stupid questions. Yeah. Why should we obey all God's rules? Because God loves us. This type of stupidity we learnt in school. Remember, childhood messages are very, very strong. Anyone with some psychological understanding will know the power of childhood messages. Many of you have sat down in my self-esteem workshop. Or go back to my website, thanks to Sunita and Anusha, it is on. And go to the workshop section and look at the thing on childhood messages. You'll find it very clear there. So these are the messages we received in childhood. So God, immediately that idea will come in. So to prevent that, we use the word Ishvara, Bhagwan, etc. That is why the difference. Because God is separate from the world, Ishvara is not separate. World is a manifestation of Ishvara. It is in others, it is God's rules. Whereas here it is Dharma, manifestation of Ishvara, universal. It is not religion specific. We didn't say among Hindus we should be honest, but you can cheat a Muslim. We don't say that. Honesty is honesty across the board. So our dharma is different, or this is different. All based on your understanding of Ishvara. Therefore, if you are using God for the first two levels, it's okay. First two levels of understanding, yes, it is God only we are talking about. After that, it is no more God, it is Ishvara, Bhagwan, etc. Does that clarify your question, Sashi? You have to unmute yourself. I think she's having network problems. Because somehow it's frozen. Anyway.
Yes, sir. I have understood, but I will think more and maybe I trouble you again.
No problems. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you speaking without unmuting? Or you're having dual thing?
No, but I have. No, sir, I have. Mine is unmuted.
But you're muted. Or you have unmuted and it is not showing. Yeah, okay.
Swamiji, seemingly muted.
Yeah, you know, she appears to be muted, but she's
Yes,
not.
appears to be.
Because the image is frozen. Since the connection is poor, the image is frozen. Now when the fresh image has come, she's unmuted there.
I can see all of you, I don't know about you.
No, we can make out that there is network issues there. Yeah, sometimes it happens, you can't avoid it. Yeah, that's okay. That's part of the thing that we have to live up with. Like I keep my phone always ready in case I have to switch over. If my network gives problems, yeah. Okay. Shall we go ahead then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have to see what is Ajnanam, right? Vastu and Avastu we saw last time. Okay. Definition of superimposition, simple one. And what is a Vastu? Okay. Vastuni Avastu Aropaha is called superimposition. Adhyasa in other words. Okay. See, because certain ideas are not there in that language, even proper words you will not get. What do you mean by superimposition? On something you are imposing something else, no? Correct? You are imposing something on something. So on my laptop or on my book, if I keep the bottle, is that a superimposition? Superimposition, no? On super on top of the book, I have kept the bottle. But this is not the superimposition. This is not adhyasa. Now, you do not have another word other than superimposition, because the English language doesn't have an idea of adhyasa. Satyam, mithya, etc. is not there. So at this level of the class, we can use the word adhyasa itself. Forget the word superimposition. Atasmin tad buddhi is adhyasa. Vastuni avastu aropa. To mistake the vastu for avastu, for something else, is called aropa or adhyaropa or adhyasa. And that is because of ajnanam. Ajnanadi, etc. You can never make a mistake. This is very important to understand. There are schools of psychology like Gestalt, etc., that does a lot of research into why human beings make mistakes in perception, etc. Science using photometry to explain perception has not bothered too much about error, erroneous perception. But some schools of psychology have tried that. And they go into naturally they will go into your subconscious mind, this, that, etc. That is their paradigm. They will go into all that. Which may all be fine. One thing that has to be taken into account right through is you can never have an adhyasa unless you are ignorant of what is there. You are aware that something is there, at the same time you don't know what it is. Like you mistake, the famous example, you mistake a rope for a snake. You can give hundreds of psychological reasons. I'm a snake lover. I'm afraid of snakes. I worship snakes because I'm from Mallu land. I have got snakes on my mind because I've seen too much of anaconda movies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. The search for the blue orchid, all that nonsense I have seen. My mind is full of that. You can give 101 psychological reasons. But the fact will remain, if you knew it was a rope, you will never mistake it. Ajnanam moola karanam. Everything else is secondary. Whether you love it, you're scared of it, you hate it, you have got overdose of it, all that secondary. Primary is you did not know it was a rope. Page 36. First sloka, okay? Yeah. You will not make a mistake if you knew it. If you knew that it was a rope, you may say it looks like a snake. Wow, it's so beautiful. You will not mistake it for a snake. Therefore, ajnanam eva karanam. Okay. Primary reason is ajnanam. Therefore, he is now going into what is ajnanam. All right. Very nice, thorough definition of it, okay? Sad asadbhyam anirvachaniyam trigunatmakam jnana virodhi bhavarupam yat kinchiditi vadanti aham ajnaha ityadi anubhavat देवात्म शक्तिम सर्वगुणैर निगूढ़म स्वगुणै निगूढ़म इत्यादि श्रुतेश्च. Beautiful. First, let us take your anubhava, because ajnanam anubhava siddham. Do you say at some time or the other, I don't know? However much you think you know everything and love to pontificate, there are guys like that. At some time or the other, you have said, I don't know. No? Okay. Do you see the fact you don't know? Yeah, I'm ignorant of it. So, what is the subject matter of that vritti, I don't know? Subject matter of bottle vritti is bottle. Subject matter of ajnana vritti is ajnanam. Ajnanam anubhava siddham. Aham ajnaha iti, I don't know. Okay, I don't know what it is. Yeah. And very, very nice. Please read the footnotes on this, okay? Very, very nice footnotes are available in this book. All right. Let us take it word by word. Sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. Sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. What is Sat? Trikala bhaditam. Perfect. Yes. Trikala bhaditam satyam. That is called Sat. That which is not negated at any period of time. That which is always there. Aham Atma Brahman. Satyam. Now, is Ajnanam Trikala bhaditam?
No.
No. The moment I gain knowledge, Ajnanam goes. Therefore, it is not Sat. Can you say it is Asat?
No.
Why?
Because I can experience it.
Because you experience it. It is not like my horns. My horns, I have a nice, beautiful pair of horns. Nice, solid ones. As it is, people are scared of me to say something sometimes. I don't know why. And imagine if I had a pair of horns on top of it. So, it is not like that. It is not asat like that. Okay. Therefore, sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. Anirvachaniyam means not indescribable. That's a wrong translation. You commonly used. Anirvachaniyam should be taken as not categorized. Okay. It's a better way of putting it. Ajnanam cannot be categorized as real or unreal. Neither real nor unreal. In fact, many things in the world are like that. Everything in the world you experience belongs to this category. It's actually the definition of mithya. Sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam is the definition of mithya. The simplest and the most best definition of mithya is sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. Cannot be classified as real, cannot be taken as unreal. All types of mithya will fall into it, including your delusions. Illusions, delusions, everything will fall under this definition. Your functioning world will fall in it, your subjective world will fall into it, your illusionary world also will fall into it. Vyavaharikam, pratibhasikam, all realities will fall into sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. An illusion of a mirage, sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. This book, sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. My body, sat asatbhyam anirvachaniyam. All your cells are replaced every 7 years. That's what the latest research is saying.
Amazing knowledge.
Sat asatbhyam anirvachaniyam. Because knowledge is only from a standpoint. It's not absolutely real. Because it's not constantly existing in your mind. Like the thought is not constantly existing. Including Atma Jnanam. Not constantly existing. It's a thought that comes and goes. Therefore, other than the Atma, everything is Sat Asatbhyam Anirvachanaya. Including Ajnanam, which is the cause for Mithya. Look at it. Ajnanam is the cause for Mithya, the Adhyasa. But itself is also Mithya. Because I said, without Ajnanam there cannot be an Adhyasa. All Adhyasa are Mithya. If all Adhyasa is Mithya, then by definition of Ajnanam, Ajnanam itself is also Mithya. Because Ajnanam is a dependent reality. You do not have Ajnanam without a conscious being. Can you say this book is ignorant? Can anyone say that this book is ignorant? Or this bottle is ignorant? If I ask you what is the content of the bottle, you can say, I am ignorant about it. Because you don't know, okay? And the most unconventional sadhu around, you don't know what I have kept in this bottle. Don't worry, it's just water. Not fire water. So, ignorance should have a locus in a conscious being, in consciousness in short. Not only that, it's dependent on the consciousness, it is also dependent on the subject matter. When you say I am ignorant, people will always ask, about what? You are a well-educated, well-read person. What are you ignorant about? Therefore, it needs to have a locus, it needs to have a subject matter, both. Therefore, it's dependent on two things, not one thing. Therefore, mithya sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. If it is indescribable, we will not be talking so much about it. Okay. We will say, I can't describe and leave it. No? Do you say, a rose is not describable and go on waxing eloquent about the joke, about the rose? No. It is indescribable. My horns, you can say. Can you describe my horns? Samji, how can I describe it? Not there for me to describe. Correct, indescribable. Therefore, if you can describe depending upon your speculations, your imaginations, your projections. Not otherwise. Okay, all right. Sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. Then he says,
but Swamiji, this Mithya and Avidya are all Anadi only, no? Then come in the...
Anadi? Is this thing Anadi? Is this bottle Anadi?
No, bottle is not Anadi, I can see.
So everything that is Mithya is not Anadi, but the cause Ajnanam is Anadi. Anadi means no beginning. Adi na vidyate. It doesn't have a beginning, but it has an end. Santam. It is not Anantam. Atma is both Anadi and Anantam. Does not have a beginning, does not have an end. Avidya has no beginning, but it has an end, all right. Okay, yeah. Then he says, Jnana Virodhi. Anybody else is saying something?
Yes, Swamiji, I'm so sorry. Just a quick clarification. Ignorance has its locus in consciousness?
A conscious
Mind,
being.
Swamiji?
Yeah.
Conscious being. Okay.
Yeah, but if you are taking it totality as Brahman, then you will have to say total Maya, if you are taking it, then it is only in consciousness.
I see.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Then you say Jnana Virodhi. This is a point where we differ from science. And there's a logic for it. Most scientific thinking, because science has not gone so much into the question of ignorance. Okay? Psychology has dabbled a bit in it. Talks about ignorance as absence of knowledge. Okay? You don't know. That means you don't have knowledge. So the lack of knowledge is presented as ignorance. Which that perception or that way of looking at it is fine for your worldly activities. But if you are going on it technically, we don't say it's absence of knowledge, we say it is the opposite of knowledge. Why? Why are we hair splitting on this? Because he says it is bhava roopam yat kinchaditi. There is some sort of existence for ignorance. It is not mere absence. There is ignorance is something that exists as an entity, unlike absence. Absence is not an entity. Okay. Absence of a pot. In my hand there is no pot. Haste gatam nasti. Haste gataha nasti. On my hand there is no pot. The absence of pot is not an entity. Pot abhava is not an entity. I am deliberately introducing these so that when we do Tarka Sangraha, you will find, some familiarity is there with the words. Otherwise, you will go crazy in that text, okay? Gata Abhava is here. But Gata Abhava is not an entity. Ajnanam na jnana bhava. Ajnanam tu jnana virodhi. Ajnanam is opposite of knowledge. Why? Kinchit bhavam asti. Bhava rupaha. Kinchit bhavam asti. Why do you say that? Because your ignorance of the rope was good enough to project a snake. Your ignorance of the rope was good enough to project a snake. Snake is not real, agreed. But it was a pratibhasika thing. Entity was there or not? If you knew snake was real, you wouldn't jump. You wouldn't be looking for a stick. Yeah. You wouldn't be folding your hands and saying, Anantaya Namaha, etc. Nagaraja, you wouldn't be saying things like that. Whatever your response is, I am giving you 2-3 responses. None of those responses would happen. Whereas, look at this example. Haste gataha bhava asti. There is gata bhava on my hand. Absence of pot on my hand. Does this absence of pot in my hand create anything? Project anything?
No.
Does it create kuti pots? small pots, or anything else for that matter. It's just not there. Abhava cannot create bhava roopam. From abhava, bhava cannot come. Yes, there are schools of philosophy which says that, which is complete misunderstanding. I've had a lot of debates and discussions with people like that, who say like that. Okay. But your ignorance of the rope created that snake, projected that snake. I agree it's a mental projection, that's all the reality is. But kinchit bhavam asti, whereas the absence of the pot does not create any projections. Even though the absence of the pot is recognized by a conscious being, by a creative human being. You are a very creative person. But even if you are a very creative person, from absence of pot you cannot create anything.
Swamiji,
Yeah?
can we equate Abhava with Shunyavada?
That's why we are negating Shunyavada by this argument.
But Abhava, can it be equated with Shunyavada? Can we kind of take it as Shunyavada, Abhava?
Yeah, Abhava is one part of Shunyavada. When we come to that, I'll clarify all those things. Yeah, don't jump ahead. Get this base clear. Okay.
But Swamiji, in what you're explaining here, just for my clarification,
Yeah.
this is something which is in the range of your perception, but
Yeah.
there is an ignorance about
Yes, yes.
it. Okay.
Yeah. And if we are moving into the totality, it's even more so. Why? Maya Shakti is ignorance, correct? Total Maya, total ignorance is called Maya. It has projected this whole universe.
Yes.
Therefore, even more so, it should be having more Bhava Roopam, not less. But even at the individual level, we can prove that is Bhava Roopam. Because total you are not seen, individually you are definitely seen. That's why I am working from the individual level. Okay?
Thank you.
Jnana Virodhi Kinchit Bhavamasti. And Vadanti. Yeah.
Sorry.
Shoot.
Is it right to say that ignorance is a projection then?
Ignorance is not a projection. Ignorance is a cause for the projection.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, ignorance is a cause for the projection. Okay. Vadanti aham ajnaha iti. Ityadi anubhavam. Therefore, okay. Yeah. Shoot.
Silly question, but like there is an example of the rope and the snake. But is it possible that because of ajnanam, I don't know what it is? I don't take it as the snake, but my mind is just not in a position to say or decide or superimpose that it is the rope or it is the snake. So I just don't know. There is something, but I don't know what it is. I mean, is that also possible?
Yeah, just because there is ajnanam doesn't mean there has to be a projection. Okay? You are ignorant in deep sleep, you project nothing. मैं रास्ता पर जा रहा था. I was walking on the road. Something is lying there, I don't know what it is, I don't care. I am ignorant about it. I don't care. I walk away. So many things, so many times we do this now. In Bombay, are you going to examine everything that is around? You better not. Yeah, like once, I was organizing Puja Swamiji's talks. So we had put banners up in various banners those days, okay? Not hoardings, banners. This was, we are talking about 85 year, 85, 86. Okay. So we had put up some hoardings, some banners. Then we picked up early morning. Swamiji came by an early morning flight. No, he was coming back from States, so 5 o'clock he got out of the airport by 5:30. And we are driving. He says, "What is that lying on that is banner about the Yajna, no?" He said, "Yes, that's banner." And suddenly the banner got up. Some street dweller had torn down that banner and used it to cover himself. Yeah, poor guy. So the banner started getting up. So ऐसा भी हो सकता है. Now that is not a projection. Okay. Yeah. So you don't examine everything. I was giving the example that you don't examine everything in Bombay. You let it be. You let things be. Yeah. We are happy with our ignorance about those things. But one thing is sure, if there is a projection, there is ignorance behind it. Ignorance can exist without the projection, but the projection cannot exist without ignorance. If you have seen the snake, definitely there is ignorance of the rope. You are ignorant of the rope, but you may not see a snake. That can happen. Yeah. That can happen. Okay? Yeah.
Swamiji, I have a question.
Shoot.
How can we support, I guess, with logic that ignorance has existence? How do we do that?
Because of this, that one thing your experience is something that you experience. So whatever you experience should have some sort of reality. It's okay if the reality is the same as your thoughts, etc. But your thoughts have some sort of subjective reality. No? So that much of reality is there. Plus, it is capable of this projection, of creating adhyasa. That means ignorance is capable of creating. From abhava, nothing comes. Only from bhava can come. The snake has some sort of existence. Meaning enough to scare you, enough for your perception. You are seeing it. It is not that you are looking at a snake and imagining there is a snake. It is not that you are looking at the snake and remember the snake that you saw on your TV screen. Remember all that in Sutra Bhashya? Yeah. Seeing it and imagining there. No. You are not remembering a snake that you saw in the zoo by looking at the... You are seeing the snake out there. There, it is snake, be careful. It's clear-cut projection. It cannot come out of nothing. You may say it's my mind, not ignorance. Your mind is a product of ignorance anyway.
Swamiji,
Yeah?
I'm sorry, but can we just can you just explain this thing in light of Vedanta? Because sometimes when I'm trying to connect,
Everything is in light of Vedanta. What is not in light of Vedanta?
no, in the sense that what ignorance about the samsara and adhisthana. I mean, I'm not getting the whole picture. So,
when you say samsara, adhishtanam, etc., take it from the rope snake example only. What is adhishtanam?
Basis.
The base.
the basis,
What is that? Rope, no?
rope.
What is samsara? Your feeling of finitude, correct?
Yes.
In this case, what is samsara? Your fear
Okay.
or your love, which is not going to be fulfilled. I love snakes, but I am going to examine my love for snakes is going to remain unfulfilled. Bewafa Nikla of snake. The snake disappeared. Can you see? And what is responsible for that? Your projection of the snake. What is responsible for the projection? Your ignorance that what is lying there is a rope.
Yes.
So if Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman is there, and there is total ignorance, Maya Shakti, now totality. Why we are talking about Ishvara standpoint, totality. The moment you bring in Brahman, we are talking about totality. And there is total ignorance, that is Maya Shakti. What is it projected? The whole universe. You happen to be Brahman, but you don't know it. And because you don't know it, what happens? You take the projection as real. World is real. What do you experience? Finitude, isolation, loneliness, grief, sorrow, sometimes happiness, samsara in short. Same thing. Farak kya hai? That is why you will find in the world the same thing may be loved by somebody, hated by somebody else, afraid by somebody else. Just like the snake. Someone may love the snake, someone may be scared of the snake, someone may worship the snake. All mithya, it doesn't exist. It's only an appearance, enough to confuse you. Similarly, the whole world is a projection, it's just Ishvara's projection. Real enough to confuse you, but cannot be taken as real. It's a product of Maya, Mithya, Sat Asadbhyam Anirvachaniyam. It is not Sat because subject to negation, subject to time and space, subject to change, therefore not real. It's very funny. What do you see when you look at this? Book. Correct? What is it really speaking? Satyam Jnanam Anantam. No? It's pure existence. We have seen all the logic and the connectivity and all that thing we have seen. It's pure existence. But what are you taking it as? Book. Now this does not create a problem for you as such. Book. But a collection of things like that, the whole world, creates a problem. Why? Because all these are real, I am finite. If I take everything as form of existence and I am pure existence, there is no problem. There is only an experience of the world. ये दुनिया का खेल है देखो. There is an old song like that. आई मिलन के बेला. I don't know who will remember that song, only maybe Satish Bhai, Narayan may remember. ये सब अपना जमाना का गाना था. I'm talking as though I'm ancient, but whatever. Okay. Sometimes I like to play that role also. So, not an issue. But because I take, what is adhyasa here? They are taking an appearance as real. And therefore, then I become finite. No? I am this much only. And what is a bigger adhyasa? Let's come to that also. Since we are talking about this. What are you in reality? Nothing but pure consciousness. This consciousness manifests in the mind. Again, no issues. Therefore, I have consciousness. And there is apparent thing called mind, prana, body. Sense organs are all included, okay? This is. As long as I know what is what, there is no issue. Because I am manifest in the mind, and I don't know, I am Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, what do I do? I am this much only. This is adhyasa. The ahankara is adhyasa, and that is the one that creates all the problems. Your conceptual self is nothing but adhyasa. Your ahankara is adhyasa. That's the one that creates the problem. Why it is a problem? Because ahankara is real, world is real, and I am finite. By consequence, I am finite. And if I am finite, which is not my nature, I will struggle against it. The struggle of life is what you call the struggle of life. The original cause for stress is right here. Everything else is later. You can define stress in 100 different ways and deal with it in 1,000 different ways. That's okay. But right here you have, no? What to do? We are like this only. Enna Raskala, what are you? I am like this only. Okay. That I am like this only is the biggest adhyasa that is there. That's why that verse from Atma Bodha, 25th verse, makes it very, very nice. Atmana Sachidam Sascha Buddhehe Vrittiriti Dvayam Samyoga cha avivekena Ajnanena Janamiti pravartate. Atma, which is Sachid, vritti is in the mind. Both of them are joined together in Ajnanam. And therefore, I say, I know. That should not be a problem. I know. Na? I know implies what? I am a finite entity. World is an object of knowledge. I am the knower. And all this is my experience. And the world is so huge and I am so small. Therefore, everything is an issue. Insecurity starts. Isolation starts. Loneliness starts. Unhappiness starts. Therefore, the qualification starts with Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha. You may not know your Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, but you should know you're independent of this body, mind, etc. No? Becomes qualifications. So it's all we are not studying a theory here, okay? Ajnanam is like this according to Vedanta. This is what you are going through, not according to Vedanta. It's based on what you are. Otherwise, if you say according to Vedanta is like that, according to science is like that, according to Buddhism it is like that, according to Christianity is like that, by Islam is like that, by Nyaya Vaisheshika is like that, Sankhya is like that. And what is the truth? I don't know. Somewhere out there. That's academics. That's academics. Yeah. This is you. You boil it down to that. Yeah. That this walking, talking I is adhyasa. Is as good as the snake on the rope only. This has some greater functional validity. That's all. So this has got some Vyavaharika reality. The snake does not have a Vyavaharika reality. Transactional reality is not there. Functional reality is not there. Transactional I cannot say. Problem of English language, because It is used transactional in psychology is used for any type of experience, including subjective ones. There is a big book written on transactional analysis, no? 2-3 books came out on TA. Good books. Functional. It's a functional reality. Functional validity is more here. That is not functionally valid. But you can't say it's completely functionally invalid also, you can't say. Why? You got scared. You got scared. You became aggressive. Now, how you respond will depend upon how you deal with issues. Someone will say, let it be yours. Snake is doing its job, let me do my job. Udhar rehne do na, I'll walk away. Somebody else will say, aggressive, maar dalo usko. Aggressive response. Somebody else will have an avoidance response. Oh, snake is there, don't go like that, go around. That is your personality, your psyche, what is there? Most Hindus have an avoidance response. It doesn't come from great ahimsa or anything like that, okay? It is the attitude of enslavement that has come over the years. You can't stand up for what you are. Stand up for what you are doesn't mean you have to be aggressive. You just have to be assertive. Snake is there, you are here. It is not troubling you, you don't trouble it. You respect its rights, you respect your right, and you go your way, let the snake go its way. Finished. Problem solved. Or you are exploitative. Let me capture it. All that is samsara. Okay. Including the assertive samsara. Assertive is the least samsara. But samsara it is. And this whole package deal, based on your ahankara, the biggest dhyasa ever. You are actually, look at it. There is something called the body that you can take it. Something called your mind, your thinking, your reasoning, your feelings, etc. There's something like consciousness, pure thing. बीच में अहंकारा किधर से आया? Where did ahankara come in between? Pure projection. Purely conceptual. Body has a tangible reality here. Consciousness is absolute reality. In between the ahankara is your projection. Which means what? All that you take yourself to be is a projection. Including I am a serious seeker. Projection. Why? Vedanta teaching is the seeker is the sought. It's good to be a seeker, okay, take that. We don't dismiss it offhand. We make you understand that the seeker is the sought. But if you over-identify with the seeker, it becomes a problem. You will never understand you are the sought. I had a student like that who came to me, he threatened to be my student some 10 years back. I was his 8th teacher he was coming to. He had 8 teachers before me. Strong identity of I am the seeker. See, I have gone through 8 teachers. And what have you gained? Nothing. Why? As long as the teacher is nice with you, the moment the teacher starts confronting a little bit, he runs away from that teacher. He can't handle it. I'm a serious seeker. How can the teacher point out mistakes in me like that? Because you are a serious seeker, teacher is pointing out mistakes. If you are not a serious seeker, teacher wouldn't bother. I meet so many people at dinners and Christmas parties and all. I'm not bothered about them. Why? Aaya Ram, Gaya Ram, ठीक है, रहने दो ना. But if someone comes, then you have to take it them seriously. No? You have to help them out. So now he is with the 10th teacher now. I recently found out. I'm sure after some time he'll say, I don't need any teachers anymore. I'm a seeker, I will do it on my own. Next lifetime. If he comes to that level, then next lifetime, not this lifetime. So that seeker identity is also adhyasa. All identities are adhyasa. Creation of ajnanam. Itself not there, sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. Where did you get all these ideas? Okay. Devatma shaktim swagunaihi nigudham. Okay. Yeah. Devatma shaktim swagunaihi nigudham. Hidden by its own gunas. Devatma shakti. It is the shakti of Ishvara. Ityadi shrutescha. He's quoted something nice there. Like he has quoted one verse. I think I will read that quote in the verse, page 38. Avidyaya avidyatvam idameva tu lakshanam. Avidya is defined by itself, he says. The lakshana of avidya is avidya, ignorance itself is own lakshana. Okay? Yat pramana asahishnutvam anyatha vastu sa bhavet. It cannot stand a pramana vichara. Because pramana gives you knowledge. Any pramana, perception, etc., all give you knowledge. Therefore, avidya is not established by any pramana. Because there is not knowledge. It has to be opposite of knowledge. Therefore, what cannot be established by a pramana? Jnana virodhi, in short, opposite of knowledge. That opposite is important because only then you can say kinchit bhavam asti. Some sort of existence it has. Because if you don't give that some sort of existence, how can you say Maya is responsible for the world? You will not be able to say that. You can say mind intervenes, etc., but mind is all product of Maya only. No? It's all avidya karyam. So we are not using the word avidya merely as ignorance in the English translation. Avidya here is a technical term. Ignorance here is technically used, not used in the colloquial sense. We use it in the colloquial sense in the beginning, when you say because of self-ignorance, you are getting through the problems, etc. There it is okay to use that. See, whether you call it jnana virodhi or jnana bhava, one thing is certain. What is that? You have to seek knowledge. That doesn't change. There is a whole school of thought in Vedanta itself, which is a bit modern school. Modern meaning about 100 years old. In Vedanta, 100 years old is modern, okay? We are talking about Satya Yuga from the Rishis onwards, Vedanta has come. So naturally, 100 years old and all is modern only. From a place called Holy Narsapur. All their sadhus will have an Indra added to their name. Brahma Videndra it will become. If I had taken sannyasa from there, and I wanted the word Brahmavid, which I didn't want, it was given to me. But it would have been Brahma Videndra. Sachidananda will become Sachidanandra. Jnanananda will become Jnani Indriya Ananda. That Indra will be added to that. That is the hallmark of that set up. They have propounded this, that Ajnanam is only abhavam of knowledge, which in lot of debates has been refuted. Okay? Lot of debates have been refuted. Like what I am doing now. Okay? That idea has been refuted, but that idea exists. So if you come across any book from there, okay, you have to be careful about this point. Because I know some of you read on the net this, that, etc. So be very careful of this point. Okay? Yeah. Then he's also quoting from. Yeah, anyone had a question?
Swati Swami, just a very quick clarification.
Yeah.
So Maya is responsible for the world.
Yeah.
From a standpoint of Ajnanam, therefore we'll say Maya is responsible for the reality of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And from a standpoint of Jnanam, you will say Maya is responsible for the projection of the world or for the appearance of the world.
Yeah.
Is that what it will come?
That is a more clearer understanding. Yeah.
Okay.
More clearer.
Okay.
Don't categorize. You are tending to categorize a bit.
Hmm.
Don't categorize. You are tending to categorize a bit. Like this is it, this is it, this is it. No.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's fluid. And how fluid it is, he is quoting from Naishkarma Siddhi. Okay. Probably the next text we see may be this. He says, Seyam Bhranti Niralambaha Sarva Nyaya Virodhini Sahatena Vicharam Sa Tamo Yadva Divakaram. Seyam Bhranti, this Bhranti, Ajnanam, Niralambaha, does not really have something to support it. Alambanam is what? Something that will support it. No? Yeah. कोई हाथ देने वाला कोई नहीं है. If you want to put it in Hindi, okay. No support available. Why? Sarva Nyaya Virodhini. It is itself ignorance. But look at it. How many disciplines of knowledge has this ignorance spawned? Theoretical physics, looking at what is the reality of the world? Bas. Where does it come from? Maya Shakti Ajnana. That's why you're going after particle after particle after particle. In the last 70 years, yes. From atom which is supposed to be 3 things, you have come to 132 particles. Are you anywhere closer to understanding the reality? Biology. The study of consciousness really belongs to biology. Biocentrism. Another chakkar. Conscious is nothing but the product of the brain. What you call mind is nothing but the information organizing activity of the brain. Wow, what a great definition. Matter has produced consciousness. That means until your brain came into existence and consciousness came into existence, there were no events before that. It's contradicting itself. But it has spawned the body of knowledge. All that has come from where? Ajnanam. Arey, ignorance is propagating knowledge. Ye kya baat hai? Let us understand the world. Let us understand the human being. Medicine. You are not closer to understanding the human body, human being. You are close to understanding the human body in some ways. And your knowledge has become so specialized that there is nobody to look at you holistically. Each person deals with one aspect of you. The poor GP was supposed to deal with it holistically, but that GP has been sidelined by all the specialists. So who is going to look at an issue holistically? Ajnanam, very powerful thing, okay? Sarva Nyaya Virodhini. So many schools of thought, philosophical thought. Spawned from Ajnanam, okay? Sarva Nyaya Virodhini. Then what is it? Sahatena Vicharam Sa. Cannot stand an inquiry. If you inquire into what is that ignorance, you will not really get it. It will disappear. Like he says, Tamo Yadvad Divakaram. Like how darkness disappears when the sun rises up. So, only Pramana Vichara will negate this knowledge. Vicharam na sahati is understood Pramana Vichara. If you sit down and do Vichara on your own, it will become highly speculative, okay? You will get a lot of ideas. Another, you will create more, spin more concepts. Therefore, Pramana Vicharam na sahate. Okay. Tamo Yadvad Divakaram. Then the Devatma Shakti also, he quotes one more quote he has there. Ajam ekam lohita shukla krishnam brahmi prajaha srijamana sarupa. Ajam ekam is unborn, it is one. Lohita shukla krishna. It has got 3 varnas, 3 colors. This is the base of the varnashrama system, okay? That's why you call it varna, not caste. You call it color. Why? Lohita Shukla Krishna. Fiery red. Rajas. Okay. Shuklam white. Sattva. Krishna dark. Tamas. So Sattva Rajas Tamas. Brahmi. Prajaha Srijamana Sarupa. Therefore, it manifests beings like itself. Consciousness is there, and Sattva Rajas Tamas is there in all of them. The whole creation, in short, all coming from avidya. So, this is the big picture. Okay. So, avidya is not a small thing in Vedanta, okay? And how much has it been explained? This much, and there is much more, okay? If you look into technical writings, Aram say this, I am hopeful that this class I can take it on to those levels, okay? No other class I have been able to take it to that levels, okay? This class maybe I can. Where you will see huge amount of discussions on all this, which we will see, Aram se. Dikhega. But that's all scholarship, okay? This much is what you need. More than this is scholarship, which is good. Why not be scholarly? Why should I fight shy of scholarship? Okay. So, in all this, you cannot translate Anirvachaniyam as indescribable. Many books translate it like that for want of understanding. For want of a word in English. How do you translate Anirvachaniyam? Difficult, no? If you take it literally, Vachaniyam to be described. Anirvachaniyam can't describe it. But Vachaniyam also means categorization. Because you cannot use language without categorizing. Like when I say the word table, how many varieties of table are there? 4-legged, 6-legged, 3-legged, 2-legged, 1-legged. Correct or not? Go to an Irani shop in Bombay, you will see 1-legged tables. Round. Now look at it. All these tables are categorized into a group called tables. No? The word table is referring to what? This whole category of things. This category is called jati in Sanskrit. Group. Not caste. Jati is not caste. Jati is group. What is a jati? All that has tableness. So what is tableness? Whatever you recognize by the word table is got tableness. If you want me to define, I would say flat top and minimum 1 leg. Jati. So you cannot use language without categories. When you are saying cow, what are you referring to? Your single cow that you have or the whole group of cows? Looks like Nyaya is coming in slowly. Tarka is coming in. Correct, na? Are you using any? How do you use the word cow? The whole group? Desi, Gir, Go, New Jersey. All of them. All the hundreds of varieties of cows that are there, all of them included by the word cow. The whole category. Cowness. So the word cow actually refers to cowness. The group of cows. Gotvam, Gatatvam, pot. It refers to the whole category. Therefore, language itself is about categorization. That's why I am saying, when anirvachaniyam should be cannot be categorized as sat or asat, not which is indescribable. Now you know why I am using the word cannot be categorized instead of using the word it cannot be described. I couldn't have said this in the beginning when you all started studying Vedanta. Na? Sab jan bhag jata tha. People would have run away. ये वेदांता क्लास में आया कि इंग्लिश क्लास में आया? Because people can ask, why are you saying categorize when it is so direct, meaning is indescribable? No. You have to understand how language is used. Language is about categorization.
These things the book will not teach.
No, you won't find it. I mean, unless you study Tarka, that. I mean, what all are you going to write? Even if I am going to write about it, I wonder whether I will put all these things in it also. I may put. It's tempting to write on this. Because a good book on Vedanta Sara, it doesn't exist. So I am little bit tempted, not much. Not tempted enough to commit yet, but tempted enough. Okay. Generally, you say you can write more than what you can talk. In my case, the other way around. I can talk more than what I can write. So, that is why the whole thing comes. Now, all right, you talked about Ajnanam, Maya, etc. So, there is an individual aspect and there is a collective aspect to Ajnanam. We are still on the subject matter of Ajnanam, okay? He said, Ajnanadi, everything is superimposed on the Vastu. So, for that he gave a general definition of Vastu and then went into Ajnanadi. Therefore, Ajnanam, he has given you the basic definition of Ajnanam, then you will have to see individual aspect, collective aspect. That's what I like about this book. It's a very thorough book, you know. Very systematically, thoroughly. Doesn't make your mind go here and there. No? Stick to it. Stick to it. So we have to see what is the individual ajnanam, what is the collective Maya Shakti. And how do you establish a relationship between individual and total? How does that work out? That will be the subject matter for the following class. It's a good place to stop today. Because if I start that, it will go into again a huge topic.
Thank you,
Okay.
Swamiji.
It's a good place to stop. I think we had a good class.
Very interesting, Swamiji.
Om Tat Sat.
Very interesting.
Yeah.